Hello, and welcome to today's lesson in our English is for All program. My name's Joe, and I'm going to be your teacher today. Don't forget that you can pause this video at any time if you need to stop and review something. And don't forget to write down your questions so you can share them with us in our online YouTube tutoring sessions, or post them in the comments below, and one of our teachers will be happy to help you. Thanks again, and enjoy your lesson. So, welcome to Beginner 2 Lesson 6. Today, we're going to be doing some more work on our grammar with a particular focus on our present perfect tense of regular and irregular verbs. These are verb conjugations that we would use to talk about actions that are either ongoing or have stopped recently or have taken place in the past, but they have an impact on our present conversation. So let's take a look. So, when using the present perfect simple tense of verbs, what we're doing is we're either putting the emphasis on the result of a given action. So she has written 5 letters, or we're talking about actions that began in the past and are still going on. School has not started yet. Actions that have stopped recently. She has cooked dinner. A finished action that has an influence on the present. I have lost my keys. Or an action that has taken place once, never, or several times before the moment of speaking. So you would say, I have never been to Australia. In each of these examples, we've identified an action and we are using the present perfect simple tense to identify how they are affecting our current state. In our very first example, we're talking about how many letters she has written. And it would say she has written 5 letters. By using the present perfect simple tense, we're focusing on the result, how many letters she's written, as a way of furthering our conversation. As you can see as we go down, especially with these 3 examples of actions that have begun in the past and are still going on, or actions that have stopped recently, or finished actions that have an influence on the present. Especially in these 3 examples here, with actions that began in the past are still going on, actions that have stopped recently, finished actions that have an influence on the present, we're using the present perfect simple tense to express to the person we're talking to that these are actions that are still affecting our life in some way, shape, or form. So we would say, I have lost my keys. I lost my keys in the past, but I still don't have my keys. And to express that, I would use the present perfect simple tense. So in this last example, where we're talking about an action that has taken place once, never, or several times before the moment of speaking, we use the present perfect simple tense just to express that these are actions that have happened, but we're still thinking about them. We're talking about them with you. So instead of saying, I have never been to Australia, if you have been to Australia and I were to ask you, you would say, I have been to Australia once, or I have been to Australia several times. The action's done. You've been to Australia, you have returned from Australia. But we use the present perfect simple tense to talk about those actions. Okay, so here are some examples of signal words that we would use when using the present perfect tense. Signal words are little hints that we give to the people we're talking to that give them an idea of of how we want to talk about something. So we would use words like already, ever, just, never, not yet, so far, till now or until now, and up to now. When we use these words, we suggest to our speaker that we're talking about a present perfect action, an action that we've either finished and that's now affecting our life, or an ongoing action. So I would say something like, I have already cooked dinner. The action has finished. I've used the already to suggest to the person I'm talking to that is kind of what I'm trying to say, that I have finished this action. Same with, I have never been to California, right? I would say something like that just to signal to the person that I am going to be using the present perfect tense to talk about an action that I have yet to do. And it is affecting my current conversation. Same with things like till now and up till now. That would suggest that to the point of speaking, you have felt a certain way. So up till now, I have not read Moby Dick in its entirety, at least. things like that. These are great words that you can use within your sentences just to suggest to the person who you're talking to that you're talking about an action that is either ongoing, already finished, or has finished a long time ago and is still affecting the present tense. So how to use the present perfect. The present perfect simple expresses an action that is still going on or that has stopped recently, but has an influence on the present. So we put the emphasis on the result of that action. There's a really simple formula to use here. We would use kind of our subject, the verb to have, plus the past participle of the main verb. If the main verb is a regular verb, the past participle is the same as the past simple. We just add the ed suffix to the verb. So if I was talking about this example down here, I have walked to work once before. The result of that action is me walking to work. I have gotten to work. And when I'm using the present perfect, I've conjugated the verb to have, used the past participle to suggest to the person I'm talking to, this is an action that I have done. It is over, it is finished, but the result was I got to work. So when people ask, have you walked to work? I can say, yes, I have walked to work once before. Now, there will always be exceptions to every kind of grammatical rule. So here are some kind of exceptions in the spelling for the past participle of various verbs. So when the final letter of a verb is E, you don't need to worry about the ed suffix, just add the D. So you have love, loved. That E that exists for in love, it does all the lifting that the first E in that suffix would normally do. When the final consonant after a short stressed vowel, or L as the final consonant after a vowel, you double those things in those situations. So if we have admit, it would be two T's when you're spelling admitted, or when you're looking at a word like travel, which ends in L, you would say traveled with two L's. And finally, when the verb ends in Y after a consonant, it becomes I when you're doing the past participle. So for this example, we have the verb hurry, Hurry. For the past participle, it is hurried as Hurried. Now, irregular verbs, the past participle is going to be a little trickier, and it's going to vary from verb to verb. It's tougher to nail these down with exact rules. However, in this example, we're using the verb to speak. Now, the past participle of speak is not speaked or spoked. It is spoke or spoken. So it would say, so if we're using subjects like I, you, we, they, we would say, I have spoken, I have not spoken. And as a question, like we talked about before, you just switch the verb and subject. So we'd say, have I spoken? As you can see, we're still using the same formula for the present perfect. We're using the subject, the to have, and then the past participle of speak. It's just an irregular verb, so we can't quite do it as simply as just adding ed at the end of it. Same with he, she, and it. He has spoken, he has not spoken to make it a negative, and has he spoken. It is a very simple formula. It's just these irregular verbs might need a little bit of time just to kind of identify which are irregular and which are regular. So now that we have some familiarity with these past participle and present perfect verbs, let's practice writing some sentences. So in this first example here, this is a positive sentence. So I would say, I have found my glasses. So in the form, we have our pronoun plus have plus the past participle of find, which is found, and the object in question. So we have pronoun I have, past participle of find, found, and the object in question. What are we talking about? My glasses. So it's say, I have found my glasses. Now, like we're saying, this is an action I have finished. I am done. I have found my glasses. They are found. They are on my face. But because I need glasses, it still affects my life. Now, in a negative sentence, we would say, I have not found my glasses. As you can see, it's basically the same formula. We've just added that not after the have to just negate everything. So we would say, I have not found my glasses. The action is finding my glasses, but this is a continuing sort of action. I have not found them yet. And for yes or no questions, it's quite simple. Like we talked about before, you need only put the have before the pronoun, then the past participle, and then the object, and you would say, have you found my glasses? These are really kind of simple formulas once you get some practice and once you get used to them. And they're really, really useful when you're kind of having a conversation with someone, just to express that an action that's happened in the past is still pertinent in your day-to-day life. So on this very last slide here, we have 2 exercises for you to do. In the first, we have some audio that you need to listen to, and then just complete the quiz. Just follow that link. The second one is a kind of a quick crossword for you to do, and it's about English-speaking countries. It kind of works in your spelling, works in your trivial knowledge. Can be a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed your lesson today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our videos and hit the bell icon to turn on notifications for all future videos. If you've enrolled in our premium or interactive eLand programs, we invite you to use our learning platform to complete all of your exercises in our virtual library according to your own level. Our teachers have also chosen additional resources that can be very helpful in the learning process. Once again, thank you for choosing eLand, and we will see you next time.